the spell, or how to save a lover. No one will argue that a wife brings both joy and sorrow. A husband can afford foolish whims, but if a wife does something wrong, there will be an uproar throughout the house, as if a fire had broken out. Why is a man drawn to another woman? Because being with her is sweet as honey, as if a demon is tempting him. A husband's sin is often forgiven and overlooked, but the wife is blamed for everything and seen as the source of all quarrels in the home. This woman was not of noble birth, she was merely a miller's wife. And so, while her husband was away, a rather ordinary situation, she invited her lover over. She locked herself in the rooms with him. The little chamber was right there in the mill, covered in flour, making it hard to breathe from all the dust. The lover quickly moved on to pleasures. He pushed her down right onto the sacks of flour and began to take off her clothes. And was the woman unhappy? Of course not. As they were getting settled, the flour dust rose up in a cloud. And right at the peak of it, as soon as he got down to business, they both started sneezing from the flour, once, then again, and so on. But they felt so good together that they needed nothing else. Even the millstones seemed to creak in time with their moans, making their heads spin. They indulged in these pleasures for about 20 minutes, but then their passion began to fade. The lover shuddered, sneezed once more, and with that, his strength was spent. And then, as luck would have it, the miller himself returned to the yard. There was no more time for laughter or sneezing. The husband began knocking on the door. What were they to do now? The wife whispers into her lover's ear. Put your trust in me completely, darling. How can we avoid a scandal? We've been in tighter spots. When I go to open the door, stand right behind it, like a beast in ambush. As soon as my husband enters the room, you slip out quietly into the hallway. The miller came in and immediately began to grumble. Why couldn't you open the door right away? What took you so long to let me in? Were you asleep in here? The wife replies, No, my dear husband. I was here casting spells, doing magic. I was given a powerful incantation to keep the mice from bothering us. I was just reading it. Mice are a gluttonous breed. How do you get rid of them? Cats and traps are useless. I heard a rumor that you have to put a sack over a mouse's head and lower it upside down, and then all the rest will run away in fear. The wife caught her breath, and the husband was quite amazed. He said, Teach me this method too. We will protect our food stores. From now on, let those creatures fear us and live out in the chaff. The wife, having recovered from her fright, picks up a dusty sack and pulls it over her husband's head. And she starts spouting all sorts of nonsense, saying, Step over to the edge and repeat after me, loudly now. And she was so convincing that her husband believed this whole act. Meanwhile, she signaled to her lover, Run, you fool! But the lover just stood there and whispered back, I want to remember the words too. We also have mice at home. The woman just clutched her head at such stupidity. Who doesn't catch mice?